Sit back, relax, and enjoy as Don Tony gives you news and reviews from AEW, NXT, and indie wrestling too.
Know what's happening in the world of wrestling without the hate and clickbait.
It's Wednesday night, Don-O-Mite.
And now, your host, Don Tony.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It is March 23rd, 2022. AEW Dynamite just ended. Wow, what a banger of a show. I mean, honestly, even that little bit of excess Vicky towards the end could not bring this show down. What a great episode of Dynamite. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. We will talk briefly about Dynamite in a little bit. Jeff Hardy with another holy shit moment. I got the footage. Yes, we can share it. Another holy shit moment last night on NXT. And it was such a holy shit moment that WWE edited it out of their footage on YouTube. I can't understand. I know why, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. We will also briefly talk about Control the Narrative, because a lot of you wanted my thoughts, and I have reviewed it. I have thought about it. I see what they're trying to sell, and I'm going to give you my honest take on Control the Narrative. But I also tonight want to have a little fun with the AEW Rankings System. Now, look. Everybody and their mother could come up with their opinion, their reason why the rankings make sense. I believe I will put up an argument tonight that when you really read between the lines, look, man, wrestling has been around for, 100 years? If you want to go from the 70s to today when it started, or the 80s, let's go WrestleMania to today, and really how wrestling took it to the next level. There's a reason why you don't have rankings in sports entertainment. You don't know when a wrestler is going to catch fire. You don't know if something doesn't go as planned. What happens if there's an injury? What happens if, a storyline or a feud that no one was even thinking about just turns into magic and you got to change plans? And, man, what I uncovered today, I don't clickbait here. I don't even have the ranking system in the title for tonight. But I truthfully believe that when I explain a little bit more deep into these statistics and rankings, I honestly don't think anyone out there is going to look at this picture and say, yes, the almighty God, Booker of the Year. I could take a boatload of money and make this studio look beautiful. I could hire professional podcasters. I could have professional hosts do everything for me. And I just sit back, relax. Of course, I got to do work as well. But I sit back, relax, and I reap the rewards of what all the hardcore professionals do. That doesn't make me a genius. And I honestly think, since he is the one, remember, he is the one that does all the creative on Rampage and on Dark. This is on him. We'll get into it. By the way, the Jericho Appreciation Society tonight in the main event of Dynamite beat John Silver and Alex Reynolds. And to be honest with you, if you look at all the Dark Order segments and everything like that, I would kind of put them more as sports entertainers than professional wrestlers. But the one thing that we were curious that was going to happen tonight, well, actually two things. Last week, we wondered if they are going to be heels and they are going to be sports entertainers. You want to get massive heel heat, especially if you want to come off like you're more WWE type talent than AEW type talent. We were curious, what were they going to do about Jericho's Judas theme? And the second thing was, if Daniel Garcia is going to be a sports entertainer, how do they tweak his look? Do they give him some extravagant outfit to wear, a jacket, something? Does he change his look a little bit? You know, or are we just pretty much getting the same thing with just a name attached to the group? And I honestly think that's what we got tonight. Most of you expected that. Daniel Garcia comes out with a pair of trunks that say JAS on it, but Daniel Garcia was being Daniel Garcia, nothing different whatsoever. Chris Jericho doing what he does best, coming out to Judas as well. And no disrespect, but I look at them panning the crowd. You know, the problem with Tony Khan is Tony Khan, and this is kind of a compliment, but it's also a detriment to Tony Khan. Tony Khan wants to be liked so hard. He wants to be loved so hard by fans that he feels that if he takes Judas's theme away, that he is taking away from the fans. He's disappointing the fans. I mean, this is the Jericho Appreciation Society, and it's supposed to go against what AEW is about. And Judas music plays, and they pan the crowd. And I think almost every, with all due respect, I know I'm ugly too, but the ugliest, if I was straight, gay, bisexual, menage a trois, I wouldn't bang any of those people that popped up on the camera. Judas. Oh my God. Take away. Shit. I know I am. Of course I am ugly. I know. Everybody thinks I should go back to audio only. Even if I did, the shows wouldn't change. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for all of us that were curious, were they going to take away the Jericho theme? No. And were they going to tweak Daniel Garcia's look? No. Basically the same guys doing what they were doing before. Let's be honest. All right. Let's talk about the rankings for a few minutes. Because, look, see, those that don't follow the shows thought that I was taking a shot at Jay Lethal today. Jay Lethal on the AEW rankings is currently ranked third. Obviously, that'll change after tonight's Dynamite. But AEW put out their rankings today, and they had him ranked third. And last week, look at the timestamps from last week. Last week, we had a conversation that Jay Lethal is probably the most misused free agent signing, big free agent signing that they have done in the last year. And we said, don't be surprised if suddenly AEW does something with Jay Lethal. Remember last week when we said, oh, when do we get to bring up that Jay Lethal has disappeared again? So the rankings come out, and he's ranked number 3, above Adam Cole. Now, guys, gals, we ain't stupid here. And we understand that this is entertainment. But the ranking system is so fucked up because they want to adhere to the rankings. And when I dissect these rankings, you're going to realize why Booking Genius, I am a big fan of AEW, and I like Tony Khan, and there is a shitload to like about Tony Khan. He is an intelligent man, but I am not ever going to gush. I'm not going to write gushy tweets. Hopefully that somebody there notices me. We get no love. I mean, look, the Rampage watch parties, trying to bring more attention to Rampage, make it fun, a little interactive. I mentioned it yesterday on Patreon. 3 people that are within AEW that are, not anybody big, but I'm like, hey, could you pass this around a little bit? I work with this company, Playback and Blue Wire, and we're trying to, this is all legit by the book, and, we're trying to get more people, and hey, we get more people, have fun, not one of them even bothered. So I'm like, if you don't give a fuck, then why should I give a shit? But anyway, so let's get into the rankings. Now, the only ranking tiers that I'm not going to focus on today is the tag team division, Because the tag team division, if you really look at it, it's all the young teams on the right, with the exception of FTR. But you see the pattern, guys. Remember when the Acclaimed were the number one contenders, and we said, I don't give a shit. They're going to run into a brick wall. And what did they do? They faced Sting and Darby Allin, and they lost. And there went their number one ranking. You have Private Party. You get other teams. The Gun Club was ranked number one for a while. And the Gun Club, people are like, wait a minute, how many times have they wrestled on Dynamite? Imagine using minor league stats to try to put over numbers. And, oh, my God, wait till you see what I uncovered. You look at Alex Reynolds and John Silver, and I have nothing against those guys at all. They are good. They are entertaining. The crowd, the AEW fan base loves them, and that's all good. Every promotion should have a couple of homeboys that everybody loves, that mainstream fans would be like, I don't get it. I don't see it. Why do they so? Every promotion should have people like that. So I'm not knocking them. Does anybody out there think that they're number one contenders? So what happens tonight? They take on the Jericho Appreciation Society. There goes the number one contendership. So we're really not going to spend any time on the tag teams today. But I got to show you the men's side and the women's side. And one thing that I uncovered that is pretty fascinating, out of everybody that we go through right now, there is only one person. I don't even need to say who it is. There is only one person out of the 10 that we break down, or the 9, that you're going to say, that person is the only person that should be in the rankings right now. All right. Let's go to the women first. Let me pull up the women. The women. We pull up the women. All right, here we go. The rankings. Now, Thunder Rosa is a champion. Jay Cargill is a champion. So obviously, they're going to be there. Now, the contenders, the top contenders, you have Serena Deeb, Nyla Rose, Red Velvet, Britt Baker, and Layla Hirsch. Now, Britt Baker has only had 4 matches. Everyone else, 5, 6, 7, 9, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So now we go to Serena Deeb, who is the number one contender for titles right now. Serena Deeb, okay? She is 6-0 in 2022. Yes, she beat Hikaru Shida. But her other wins that made her the number one contender, she defeated in the 5-minute rookie challenge Layla Gray, Kayla Sparks, Angelica Risk. She beat Katie Arquette on an episode of Dynamite, and Sky Blue. Let me repeat that. 5 of those 6 wins were against Sky Blue, Katie Arquette, Angelica Risk, Kayla Sparks, Layla Gray. The fuck are they, Pete? Who are they? They're not even on contract. Come on. That's like a baseball team playing like outside teams, just spring training, and we play against the local player and we put it in our stats. The fuck out of here. Is that awful? It gets worse. It gets worse. Nyla Rose. How many times has she wrestled on Dynamite in 2022? Now, we're at the end of March. So this is a quarter of a year. Nyla Rose has wrestled once on Dynamite. She has wrestled 0 times on Rampage. Oh, well, now Rampage Friday, she's going to have a match. So she is 5-0. Okay, she beat Ruby Soho on the only appearance that she's had on Dynamite this year. Her other 4 wins that give her the number 2 contender, she beat Robin Renegade, Catalina Perez, Sky Blue, Casey Lennox. 4 of her 5 wins were against bullshit. I'm sorry to say it like that. They beat bullshit. Those are not opponents that should be part of statistics. We go a little bit further. Red Velvet. Red Velvet is 6-1. Red Velvet, she is, let's see here. She has wrestled on Dynamite this year a total of 2 times. One time tonight, she lost. And the other time, she beat Janai Kai. Her wins, Layla Hirsch, Kiera Hogan, Sky Blue, Vipress, and Chalance Royale. Guys, other than maybe one win for each of these ladies, any of these sound like top contenders? I didn't even get to the men yet. Oh, wait. Oh, just wait. Layla Hirsch, we're not even going to bother because Layla Hirsch, same opponents. Britt Baker, obviously, Britt Baker has been the champion, so we know she has fought some, regular opponents. So we're not going to throw any shade to Britt Baker, but you see where this is going, and you see how ridiculous this is. All right. So now we go to the men's side. Now, again, as ridiculous as this looks, everyone, I am a huge fan of Jay Lethal. I don't need to prove myself. You've heard me sing the praise of this man for 10, 15 years. This motherfucker is ranked higher than Adam Cole on this list going into today. You have Lance Archer is the number 1 contender with a 9-1 record. Sammy Guevara at 8-1. Jay Lethal with 7-1. Adam Cole 5-1. And Powerhouse Hobbs 8-2. Let's go to Powerhouse Hobbs first. Powerhouse Hobbs, as far as Dynamite and Rampage, has wrestled a total of 2 times. And with Powerhouse Hobbs, he is defeated, all right, on Dynamite or Rampage. He beat Dante Martin, which is fine. And that's it. His wins on Dark or Elevation, he has beaten Fuego del Sol, Matt Sydal, Gus De La Vega, Lee Johnson, Alexander Moss, Ryan Clancy, and the most famous one of them all from the January 15th, 2022 episode of Dark, the unknown male enhancement wrestler. Yes, there is nobody that can figure out who the fuck he beat on January 15th. That is Powerhouse Hobbs, ranked number 5. He has one good win against Dante Martin, and he's ranked number 5. Let's go to Adam Cole. Oh, this is beautiful. Adam Cole. Let's find Adam. Okay, Adam Cole. Guess how many times Adam Cole has wrestled in singles competition on Dynamite this year? Including today, 2. Including today, 2. Adam Cole has defeated Def Con, Trent Beretta, Jake Atlas, Evil Uno, 10, and Jay Lethal. Putting Jay Lethal aside, you tell me how that gives you the number 4 ranking. His loss was against Hangman Page, and we're not even counting Orange Cassidy's win over Adam Cole. I mean, are you seeing the pattern now? Are you seeing that all of these wins are just bullshit numbers? Now, I'm going to hop over. No, we could get into Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal, 7-1 going into tonight. This is beautiful. A total of 1 appearance between Dynamite and Rampage in singles competition before today. And that was a loss against Ricky Starks for the FTW Championship. Jay Lethal's 7 wins, guys, get ready for this. Number 3 contender. His wins are against Merrick Donovan, Serpentico, J.D. Drake, Jora Joel, Casey Carrington, Alexander Moss. How the fuck are you ranked the number 3 contender? And listen, the only reason that I decided to go with this tonight was because Tony Khan on Twitter, in hyping up the match tonight with Jay Lethal versus Adam Cole, that nitwit, is the one that decided to write in his tweet, number 3 ranked Jay Lethal versus number 4 ranked Adam Cole. I just read you Jay Lethal's wins. Serpentico, J.D. Drake, Jora Joel, Casey Carrington, Alexander Moss. That ranks him higher than Adam Cole? I mean, seriously, are we in agreement here that this is a fucking farce? Now, I'm going to go to Sammy Guevara. No, actually, let's go to Lance Archer first. Lance Archer, the number 1 contender. Now, he's going to take on Dustin Rhodes Friday. Chances are he's going to beat Dustin Rhodes, which will make him 10-1. But he has not wrestled Dustin yet, so we do not keep that on that list. So Lance Archer, this is the funniest one of them all. In his 9-1 record, his only loss was against Hangman Page on Dynamite. Guys, gals, how many times do you think Lance Archer has wrestled on Dynamite or Rampage this year? Chat room, I know you can't see me right. How many times do you think Lance Archer has wrestled on Dynamite and Rampage this year? How many times? Anybody? Quick. Okay, Kevin Milwaukee says 3. That's not a bad choice. Big Tone says 3. John Vickers says 2. Joe and a bunch of others. Thomas Hester is right. He's wrestled 1 time. 1 time. His 9 wins, everyone, which makes him the number 1 contender. Imagine, and before I read you the list, just imagine the roster they have right now, which honestly, it is a stacked fucking roster. That roster is awesome. It's look, well, 2 years ago I said Tony Khan's dream promotion is a combination of Ring of Honor and ECW. And it kind of feels that way. But Lance Archer now, amongst everybody that is on that roster, he is the number 1 contender. Lance Archer's wins in that 9-1 record: Sage Scott, Cameron Stewart, Fuego del Sol, Joey O'Reilly, Chase Oliver, Frankie Kazarian, Joe Keys, Dean Alexander, Jordan Costa, Liam Cross. The fuck? 9-1, ranked number 1 contender out of an entire roster. His wins are against Sage Scott, Cameron Stewart, Fuego del Sol, Frankie Kazarian, Joey O'Reilly, Chase Oliver, Joe Keys, Dean Alexander, Jordan Costa, and Liam Cross. Can we put this motherfucking rankings to bed? You see what's happening here? Oh, we want to put this person as a main eventer. Let's throw him on Elevation and Dark for a couple of weeks. And we'll have him beat Schmuck number 1, Schmuck number 2, Joe Indy's cousin number 2. Who the fuck are you? You know, some dumb fuck. Triple Chin. And oh, look, number 1 contender. Come on, everybody. Seriously, this is Booker of the Year. I mean, every person on those lists has a bullshit win-loss record to have them on that list except for one person. Sammy Guevara should owe Tony Khan a boatload of lunches. Sammy Guevara right now is currently the number 2 contender, 8-1. Guys, gals, guess how many times Sammy Guevara has wrestled on Dark and or Elevation in singles competition this year? Guys, gals, how many times do you think Sammy Guevara has wrestled in singles competition on Dark and Elevation this year? How many times? Rando says 0. Crazy Shem says 8. Thomas Hester says 0. Thomas, you're on a roll. You looked at the stats today. 0. Sammy Guevara has not wrestled in singles competition on Dark or Elevation this year. Sammy Guevara's record, okay, his loss was against Scorpio Sky, obviously. He lost the TNT title. Sammy Guevara's wins this year are against Andrade, Darby Allin, Andrade once again, Darby, oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm reading them twice. Darby and Andrade, Isaiah Cassidy, Cody Rhodes, Daniel Garcia. Okay, he actually did beat Andrade twice and Darby Allin twice. So 2 wins against Darby, 2 wins against Andrade. He beat Isaiah Cassidy, Daniel Garcia, and Cody Rhodes. Pretty fucking impressive, wouldn't you say? Now, out of the 10 people that I brought up today, is it fair to say that Sammy Guevara is the only person that should be listed on those rankings? You dissect this, and nobody takes the time to look at this stuff. They'll say, well, no, dark counts and elevation counts. 90% of everybody else's wins are from people that are either not under AEW contract, that are just brought in for squash matches. And not only that, we didn't even get into the length of these matches. You add up 8-9 wins, and the total in-ring time is about 25 minutes for 9 fucking wins. It is a joke, everybody. It is a goddamn joke. I will totally respect anybody out there that disagrees with me. Post your views in the comment section after the show is over. But I personally think, after what we just went through, you tell me this ranking system is anything but bullshit, garbage. But the reason why we bring it up is because this is how the sauce is made to get someone to the number 1 contendership, to give this suspension of belief that this team is on momentum. We brought it up with the Gun Club a couple of weeks ago. I have nothing against Austin and Colton Gunn. They are on their way. They are definitely talented. But they put them number 1 contenders, and you start reading the list like, wait a minute, 95% of these, I don't know who the fuck they are. And they're adding these wins like, yes, that makes them not. Just think about that. With that padded roster, stacked roster, and you see your top 5 contenders in the men's and the women's division, and 90% of those wins are against bullshit. Absolute bullshit. All right. Now, since we got that out of the way, how do you feel now? You know, how do you feel now? I don't know. You know, the pay-per-views are awesome. But, you know, this ranking system, please. This is fucking awful. And it's a shame that 95% of everyone out there isn't going to bother to even look into this stuff. They're just going to see someone with 10, 20, 30 wins. Oh, number 1 contender. It's ridiculous. All right. Now we could move on. Tonight on Dynamite, we had a crazy holy shit moment, as did NXT yesterday. Jeff Hardy deciding he was going to climb one of the highest ladders that I've ever seen him climb. And he decided to climb up a windowsill. I don't know. Is that about like 25 feet high? Maybe, I would say 20 feet high minimum. If you look at Sting, who's about 6 feet tall, it's about 15 feet high. I would say about 15 feet high. Is that fair to say? But still, nonetheless, very, very crazy spot. Yes, I will show it to you in a few minutes. Now, I did have one problem with that spot, and I will share it with you in a few moments. But let's run through Dynamite pretty quick. CM Punk tonight over Dax Harwood. You know, a bunch of people online were joking around today that this was Bret Hart Appreciation Night because today is the 25th anniversary of Bret Hart versus Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13. My top 5 favorite matches of all time. Obviously, they're not going to mention that on Dynamite because it gives a nod to WWE since WrestleMania is under their banner. But we know CM Punk's love for Bret Hart. We know Dax Harwood's love for Bret Hart. And on this anniversary of that spectacular match at WrestleMania 13, Nathan Reeder, what's up? They had a banger of a match. That match was so spectacular for one reason and one reason only. Because 95% of that match was just straight old school wrestling. Now, I'm not as extreme as Jim Cornette. I love old school wrestling, but I also love my hardcore and new school and some of what we see today. But what tonight proved is that if you really are connected with a wrestler, you enjoy their match regardless of what they're doing. I mean, you saw old school 80s wrestling for a majority of the first half of that match. They went old school intentionally. And we saw a couple of Bret Hart moves as well, but the crowd loved it. The crowd was so freaking hot for this match tonight. A lot of loud CM Punk cheers. I think the crowd doesn't understand that FTR, maybe they do now, but FTR is turning babyface. Firing Tully Blanchard was the first step in turning babyface. And, the crowd more for CM Punk tonight. I think by the end of the match and FTR's promo after the match was over in the locker room, you see the respect factor there. But loud CM Punk chants, a lot of chain wrestling, a lot of old school work. We had the Gun Club at ringside. And yes, this ultimately is the Acme Insta feud. Why are they at ringside? Oh, they're laughing at FTR. Oh, match next week. Done. Like, who should FTR face next week? Oh, let's have him face Jose Cuervo number 1 and Jose Cuervo number 2. Okay, no problem. Just put them in ringside and they're laughing at them for some reason. And then that's the way we do the match next week. Dax with a beautiful superplex off the top rope. Cash Wheeler shows up. I didn't know he had a managerial license. Why did the referee allow Cash to stay at ringside? I don't understand that. Again, dumb shit with the referees. Oh, we didn't get that many of it tonight, but sure enough in this match, what did we say last week? Boo! Yay! Boo! Yay! Right off the bat, we got that. But towards the end of the match, CM Punk with a splash off the top rope for a 2 count immediately turns into the Anaconda Vice, which was broken up by Cash, but ultimately, beautiful powerbomb by Cash off the rope. God, this is awesome chance, and I'm loving it because it was primarily old school wrestling tonight, and that was refreshing to see that the AEW fans still ate it up. Cash blocks the GTS, turns it into the sharpshooter, tribute to Bret Hart, but ultimately Punk breaks out of the sharpshooter, turns it into the Anaconda Vice, and Dax Harwood submits, and he wins. CM Punk with the win, and I was very happy that MJF did acknowledge CM Punk tonight when he cut his promo. We'll get into MJF in a few moments. Early on, we get a segment with the Jericho Appreciation Society. They show a picture of John Silver with Chris Jericho from 18 years ago. John Silver, a wrestling fan, going to see Jericho. And Jericho, mocking him 18 years later. And we're going to future endeavor you just like we did for Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston. Just storyline. I know some people online were a little bit concerned with that. No worries. Next, we get the 8-man tornado tag match, Sting's Rules, as I always say. Sting, no back bumps, but he will do a dive. And after the one he did on Andrade at Revolution, ain't no stopping Sting today. We had Butcher, Blade, Private Party come down the rampway. Before they could even get in the ring, Darby Allin tope suicida onto the Butcher. And Sting is like, fuck it. He climbs the top rope and he dives on the other 3 guys. And now we have a full-fledged brawl all throughout the building. One point, we have Matt Hardy and Private Party go off the stage through a table. It got a little out of hand. We go to the back. And Sting, and by the way, look, Sting, you got to remember, is 63 years old. Towards the end of the match, he got a little loopy, and we definitely have to mention it. I'm not going to knock Sting, but I have to bring out a point with Sting. But they brawl in the back. Now, I love this spot, but I had a little problem with it as well. Because remember, this is a tornado tag match. Anything could happen anywhere. So, anyway, Jeff Hardy climbs the top of the windowsill. I love Jim Ross tonight. I don't think he cursed, but he was like, shit, Jeff Hardy's got a ladder. So you know some crazy shit's going to happen. So Sting is holding Butcher and the Blade down. And what they did was they put a lot of boxes underneath the tables just to cushion the fall a little bit. And you know what? At Jeff Hardy's age, you do something like that. There's no reason, especially when you're in the back, in a hallway, a building hallway, those tables, from just the weight and how high he was up, you don't need the tables to explode, and he absorbs all the impact hitting the floor. So the boxes don't do much, but even when boxes crush, I don't know if anybody's ever played with a box crusher. My father owns a supermarket. When I used to work for him, I used to crush all the boxes. And you put all the boxes in the compactor and it crushes it. But it still leaves padding. You could crush a whole ton of boxes and you could force it as much as you can. It's only so far it's going to go down. So Jeff Hardy climbs the top of the windowsill and Jeff Hardy swanton bomb right on the Butcher and the Blade. Sting was funny with this. Because if you look at the Sting in the background, Sting's like, oh shit, let me get out of there. He like runs to the windowsill. So what I don't understand is, why is the referee back there? Seriously. If you could pin someone back there, well, the Butcher had his arm draped across Jeff Hardy after Jeff Hardy swanton bomb. Why didn't the referee count? If the referee only, even in a tornado tag match, if he only could count the pin or the submission in the ring, why is he back there? I know what you're going to say, but let me add one more further. Andrade showed up during the match, and ultimately Darby Allin is pushed down a flight of stairs. And look, going down a flight of stairs, I don't care if you're a stunt man or if you're just someone with a big set of balls like Darby Allin. Falling down a flight of stairs is not perfectly, you can't always perfectly plan the way you're going to fall. And that shit is scary, no matter how you look at it. What I didn't understand is, why is the referee telling Andrade to get out of there? It's tornado tag. There is no disqualification. And the referee's like, get out of here, get out of here. I'm like, no, it's just, he's allowed to be there. But ultimately, the match gets back into the ring. Private Party is in the ring. Mark Quinn tries to smash Sting with a chair, which he no-sells. We get a little bit of brawling in the ring, and then we had an awkward moment with Sting. Sting was planning the Scorpion death drop on Mark Quinn. What happened was, he was struggling to keep him, and props to Excalibur, because Excalibur saw Sting struggling a little bit, and he said that Sting had a dragon sleeper on Mark Quinn. But he really didn't. It's just, I think by that point, Sting's leg, Sting had spaghetti legs. And listen, man, the guy is in shape. The guy feels good. Psychologically, he thinks he can still do it, and he shows that he can. But we got to remember that Father Time affects everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. At 63 years old, you may feel good 5 minutes earlier, but then 5 minutes later, you could be on spaghetti legs. And, the thing with Sting that I think people need to realize is, you have a wrestler that gets older. That wrestler could still do it. But it gets to a point where you say, okay, no, he could still do it, but should he still do it at 63? And no, I'm not saying that Sting should stop. But Think about that when someone else, WWE or somewhere else, I don't think WWE, because I don't think WWE would allow anybody really to wrestle that old, but you get someone else that is 60 years old doing it, and just because you're not a real fan of their work, you can't bring up like, the fuck is this person doing this at 60 years old for? What are you, nuts? Well, guess what? If what he can do still looks good, then that person has every right to still do it. Just because you don't like that person all that much doesn't mean that that person is not doing any less of a good job than Sting is. But Sting, we give him a pass because the match went a little bit longer. You know, the guy did brawl all over the building, dove off the top rope as well. But ultimately, Sting with the Scorpion Death Drop and Matt Hardy with the Twist of Fate at the same time, and the ref makes the count. And Sting, Darby Allin, and Hardys are your winners. Next, we had Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson defeating the Varsity Blondes. Very, very short match. William Regal on commentary for a couple of minutes. After the match is over, William Regal hits the ring, and now we have a name. I'm assuming this name is going to stick for Regal, Moxley, and Danielson. Regal gets on the mic. Well, first he's on commentary. He puts over Brian Pillman, mentions that he was friends with Brian Pillman. He sees a lot of potential in Brian Pillman Jr., gives some props to Griff Garrison as well. He was asked about bringing him aboard, and William Regal with a great line, anybody could have one good fight, he needs to see more. So Moxley with a triangle choke on Griff Garrison for the quick win. Regal hits the ring. Moxley on the microphone first. Moxley, calling himself a very fortunate man, very lucky man. He's now getting not only the opportunity to compete against the best in the world. Yes, they applied that to Bryan Danielson as well, but he gets to work with the best in the world. He puts over Regal, Lord William Regal. He said the seal of approval from Lord William Regal. He wears it with pride. And then he puts the locker room on notice. If anyone thinks that they have what it takes to ride with them, they're not giving out any free passes. Reach down deep in your soul where you love pain, and you're going to get it from the Blackpool Combat Club. Blackpool Combat Club. So that appears to be the name of their team. Will they add new members? We don't know. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Enjoyed it. I'm going to go a little ahead since we're talking about Regal. We had a segment later on with Wheeler Yuta and Best Friends. And I got to be honest with you. You know me, I'm not a big fan of Wheeler Yuta. He's really not showed me, much, in my opinion, in AEW. But I think Wheeler Yuta's probably had the best 7 days in his entire AEW career. Last week, the match, which he did really well in. But tonight, what they did was Trent confronting Yuta. I don't like you. I never liked you. But these guys train you. And this is how you repay them? That you want to join some fight club? And Wheeler Yuta's like, look, I love these guys. I don't like you, Trent. So we know, expect a match between Trent and Wheeler Yuta very, very soon. But Wheeler Yuta's like, look, I'm not trying to be the best friend. I'm trying to be the best wrestler. And it worked. It really worked. It was pretty. I actually have to give props for that segment. It was not long, and it did what it needed to do. MJF with a fascination with pigs tonight. MJF comes out there, he puts down Punk. You cheated to win at Revolution. I don't know if there's going to be another match, but if it is, I'm going to give you the worst loss of your career, and it will never be over until I go to your funeral and I piss on your grave. Remember what we talked about Monday? We talked about it yesterday on Patreon as well, as far as MJF and his promo abilities. Spectacular. One of the top promos in the last 15 years. But what I repeatedly say is that the reason why I don't compare him to other people in WWE is because half or maybe even 3/4 of what MJF says when he's at his worst, and that's a compliment. He's at his worst on his mic is when he's most vicious. He would not be able to say those things in WWE. He would not even close. So he focuses on Wardlow, calls Wardlow a pig multiple times tonight. You're a pig. Crowd is chanting for Wardlow as if it wasn't for me, no one would know who the hell you are. You had nothing before me. Now you have a roof over your head. And how do you repay me? By costing me the most important match of my life. You didn't sign a contract with a schmuck. You signed a contract with the devil. And Piggy, Kermie, Piggy, pig, repeatedly, Piggy, pig, oink, pig. I'm going to make your life a living hell. I'll nail you to the cross like Jesus. I think Wrestling Jesus might have been there. I think that's where that chant may have come out, by the way. But he brings up Jesus. That's, like I said, I said some outrageous stuff tonight. Would not dare be able to say that in other places. I'll kick that skank mother out of your house. I own you, pig. I own you. He dares Wardlow to come out. Wardlow comes out. He's stopped by security. He's stopped by staff. You don't work for AEW. You still work for me. I'm going to pay you to stay home. And I'm going to keep you home until they forget you ever existed. Wardlow trying to break free for a little bit, but the numbers with security and staff were too overwhelming, and Wardlow has to go to the back. But now you got to ask yourself, how long is Wardlow going to be off television? I don't know. Is he going to just keep coming out through the crowd? Because we got a little hint tonight that MJF and Shawn Spears, or a combination thereof, will now start to be featured, I think, on Dynamite. Because at the very end, MJF putting over the Pinnacle and Shawn Spears with the catchphrase, you know, when you're with the Pinnacle, you're always on top. I'm wondering now, every time Spears or somebody has a match in the Pinnacle, that Wardlow maybe comes out through the crowd and interferes and then hops back through the crowd. And remember, FTR is no longer part of the Pinnacle. They haven't addressed that yet. Will we end up getting MJF and Shawn Spears versus FTR? It's a possibility. Adam Cole over Jay Lethal. I mean, a very entertaining match. Early ground game for both as well. I mean, we had dueling chants. Let's go Lethal, Adam Cole. Let's go Lethal, Adam Cole. Match was very good, very even. We did have a commercial break. Unfortunately, Red Dragon, I almost said Red Rum before, but Red Dragon interferes. That allows Adam Cole to hit the low blow, and then he lowers the boom for the win on Jay Lethal. And it's funny because you look at the rankings, like we said before, and Jay Lethal was made all the way to number 3, and we already exposed how ridiculous that was. And now he loses to Adam Cole. So it ended up amounting to nothing. I mean, it just shows you how ridiculous these rankings really are when you dissect it. So Adam Cole gets on the mic. It looks like we may be getting a rematch between Hangman Page and Adam Cole. Remember what I said in November? Remember when I said that 2022 is going to be the year of the contract for AEW, and it's going to be the year of the rematch? And props to AEW for doing numerous rematches. They have realized they can do a rematch, milk a couple extra weeks here and there. No reason to burn through so many different main events, one-shot deals. That was one of their biggest criticisms in 2021. So Adam Cole continues. He saw fear in Hangman Page's eyes when he pinned Jungle Boy last week. He said Hangman Page caught lightning in a bottle at Revolution, and the next time they fight, he's going to stick that bottle up Page's ass. He calls him a coward. He doesn't have the guts to come out and face Red Dragon and Adam Cole. He does. Adam Cole stared down with Hangman Page. Hangman Page pulls off his belt, starts whipping them. Red Dragon ultimately gets the upper hand. As they're beating down Hangman Page, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian come out to make the save. And that's all we got. So this is obviously leading, looks like we're the rematch between Page and Cole. All right. Ty Conti and Sammy Guevara, you could see and you could hear it, you could feel it. Fans are not interested in seeing them as a couple on screen. Especially when Ty Conti got on the mic. Crowd didn't seem to like it all that much, but they came up with a line today that I think people quickly forgot about that. Now, what happened was Sammy and Ty Conti are in the middle of the ring. Sammy Guevara talking about what happened with him losing the championship. If he gets another chance, he's going to do something so crazy, you're all going to chant holy shit. He said he's heard this his entire career, that he has to tone it down sooner or later, but it's all worth it for the fans. But then he talks about, and Ty Conti talks about payback. They want payback for what happened. So she calls Paige Van Zant a bitch. You're going to get your ass kicked like your whole MMA career. Sammy Guevara says, any two, come out and face us. Two of us versus any two of you. Dan Lambert comes out with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. No Van Zant. Dan Lambert said, you know, for all of you out there, and he talks about the hottest free signing in Paige Van Zant. He's like, all the people out there could spend $9.99 on Van Zant's OnlyFans and see why Orange Cassidy keeps his hands in his pockets all the time. He calls Ty Conti Lucha Horace, which got a funny pop. But then Sammy gets back on the mic because Dan Lambert teases that Sky and Paige were going to hit the ring, take on Ty Conti and Sammy. But they like, nah, and they leave. So Sammy Guevara gets back on the mic and he talks to Dan Lambert about how we've been living rent-free in your head. Dan Lambert earlier was kissing the extra TNT title that he's been wearing. Real Mickey Z, welcome to the family. I don't know if we're going to see Dan Lambert with that title anymore. I know in storyline they could steam clean it, but I know a lot of people were probably thinking of a different Paige tonight because Sammy Guevara tells Dan Lambert that we've been living in your head rent-free. But if you knew what we did while I had that TNT Championship, we're living rent-free in your mouth. To insinuate that bodily fluids may have entered that title belt. Obviously, everybody thinks of, you know, Paige with the NXT Women's Championship. So Dan Lambert throws the title on the floor and he's all skivatzed over it. But that was good. I mean, that was a good save because, like I said, I kind of felt bad for Ty Conti a little bit. It seemed like the crowd was very, very edgy. It almost feels like now batting for Brandy Rhodes, number 2, Ty Conti, number 2. I know, gross. Hey, this is AEW TV 14. Remember, all these morons that try to compare AEW's demographics to WWE's. WWE is PG TV, and AEW is TV 14. Layla Hirsch beating Red Velvet. Layla Hirsch once again going for the wrench. Referee sees it, but she's got another wrench in her tights. She nails Red Velvet with the wrench, and she gets the win. After the match is over, she beats down Red Velvet a little bit more. And I don't know, Chris Statlander making a save. I know it's a feud that no one really feels they want continued, but they are continuing it. Gives a little different attitude side of Chris Statlander, but she makes a save for Red Velvet. So obviously she will have a rematch with Layla Hirsch coming up. Jade Cargill talking about when she wins her 30th win, they're going to have this huge celebration. She wants money coming out down from the ceilings, confetti, green Lamborghinis, exotic dancers, blah, blah, blah. Thunder Rosa, as we said earlier, she came out before she could say a word about her title win. She's interrupted by Vicky Guerrero. Very poor exchange. Vicky, I guess, trying to insinuate that, Thunder Rosa is not really legal or she's fake and she's really from Mexico. And Thunder Rosa stumbling on her words a little bit. It was what it was, but it was just to set up Nyla Rose nailing Thunder Rosa from the back. And I know there was a lot of people with a awful sigh tonight. They're like, oh, God, we're doing that again. Nyla Rose getting a shot right after somebody wins a belt. But who else are you going to put in there? I know you're going to say there's Ruby and there's a lot of others, but this is where AEW wants to go with it. So the main event, look, the main event was what it was. It was, honestly, it was a typical match. John Silver, Alex Reynolds, a little bit of comedy. They're just as much sports entertainers as the Jericho Appreciation Society. Let's be honest. They are. They are. But it was a fun match. A lot of chaos. It was funny at one point that Aubrey Edwards ejects 5 and 10 from ringside, but lets 2.0 and Jake Hager stay out there. A lot of, like I said, a lot of dumb shit with the referees continue. And, we get some interference from Hager. We get some interference from 2.0. 1 point, John Silver, dives onto these guys. But what ends up happening is Aubrey Edwards gets distracted. And Chris Jericho with the bat. And he nails Alex Reynolds with the bat without Aubrey looking. Daniel Garcia putting on, what did he put? He put, he put Sting's move on, didn't he? What was Daniel Garcia's finisher again tonight? Trying to remember. Someone will. I'm drawing a blank right now. But Daniel Garcia with the submission move on Alex Reynolds, and they get the win. So it was a fun main event. But like I said, Daniel Garcia pretty much was still Daniel Garcia. They're still doing the Jericho music. There was nothing different tonight. And the sharpshooter, thank you very much, One Fall. Bret Hart sharpshooter. That's right. We got it twice tonight. One in victory and one not. Thank you. It was the sharpshooter. It was the sharpshooter. I know you could say lion tamer, but it really was a sharpshooter. So, actually, it was, excuse me. Thank you for everybody for guessing, but Mike Awesome, thank you. It was the Scorpion Deathlock. That's why I said I thought it was one of Sting's moves. They actually did say Scorpion Deathlock. So, yeah, the announcers actually said Scorpion Deathlock. That's why I was like, yeah, it was. They actually said Scorpion, one of Sting's moves. But that's how we go off the air. So, but I will tell you, and I'm not just saying this, because we criticize AEW too, and I do give enough criticism. Tonight was a lot of fun. It was a very smooth, very easy 2 hours to watch. I'm baffled with the ratings the last couple of weeks, but I truthfully believe there is absolutely no reason why they can't break 1 million tonight. They deserve to break 1 million. It was that good tonight. It was a lot of fun. So, Rampage this Friday. We have Lance Archer versus Dustin Rhodes. Ricky Starks will be defending the FTW Championship against Swerve Scott. We're going to have 5 and 10 taking on Red Dragon, which to me makes absolutely no sense because 5 and 10 are the Dark Order, and Red Dragon has been mingling with Hangman Page, who is now buddies with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Unless, are we going to see like Dark Order and Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy go at it again? I don't know. Nyla Rose versus a mystery opponent, You would think, common sense after today, it would be Thunder Rosa, but obviously it'll be someone else. Nyla Rose will squash that person and then continue to beat down, and then Thunder Rosa will come out and make the save. You could see that a mile away. And QT Marshall is going to give a certificate of accomplishment to Hook. And you know what's going to happen with that. That's what Hook is going to do. Now, if he really wants to take it to the next level, I'm not going to do it because I already have Cottonmouth. But Hook, after he tears the certificate in pieces, he should put it in his mouth and eat it. Not swallow, but spit it in QT Marshall's face. Put it in your mouth, spit it. Rojo Bear, happy 14-month anniversary, my friend, for being a channel member. There have been other segments where he could see Sammy as a top babyface in the company. Tonight was not one of them. Well, I don't think it was designed tonight to be one of them. Like I said, there's a little bit of awkwardness still with Ty Conti. Everybody is still, in up in arms about Sammy's breakup with his ex. But hey, that's what happens in life. People do break up. Does anybody in their right mind think that Sammy should have stood with his ex if he wasn't happy, or if they weren't happy in their relationship? Some people think Ty Conti broke them up, and that's totally unfair, man. Totally unfair. So she's getting some heat right now, and it's a little awkward because couples on TV is not something encouraged all that much. We remember the debacle with Seth Rollins and Becky when they were going against Lacey Evans and Corbin. Oh, some of the most awful shit that I could remember in recent memory. So, crazy cruiserweight. Nyla Rose wants the challenge for the women's title. Okay. Where was she for the TBS Women's Title Open Challenge? Having ice cream, drinking at a bar. I am 100% in agreement with you. You see the Jade Cargill stuff, and look, because she's still learning, we understand why Jade Cargill's opponents are different. But if we really started dissecting Jade Cargill, she does have a couple of decent wins, but a majority of those 29 wins are from the same type of people we mentioned before. But, yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, there are a lot of people. She issues an open challenge. Where's Ruby Soho? Singing somewhere? Hanging out with the band member? Make me another theme song. There's quite a few people you could come up with. SoFly, instead of a ranking system, they should do a heat index. Maybe shows on a hot streak or a cold streak. I love it. I love it. All they could say is, Lance Archer, 8-1 in his last 9 wins, last 9 matches. Fine. Because you just say it like that, it just sounds better. I mean, you think of some wrestlers that get a winning streak. I mean, they start off with lower, and they build their way up. But this ranking system is just ridiculous. It's awful. I give credit to AEW for trying and really trying to stick to it. But if it almost feel that AEW is embarrassed that if they ditch it, that some people are going to call it a failure. You know what I mean? Like it almost feels like they have too much ego to pack it up, even though we just showed it. There's no defense to that. I mean, if you could give one, I would love it. Seriously, and I mean that sincerely. But there's really no defense for what we just broke down. And Tommy D, those rankings are a joke. Expose the truth, DT. I hope I did. Okay. Let's briefly talk about NXT. Last night, we had another ladder match qualifier. Oh, and I have some footage from the other holy shit chant last night. Solo Sikoa over Roderick Strong in a stand and deliver ladder match qualifier. So Solo Sikoa advances to stand and deliver. Tony D'Angelo over Dexter Lumis. It was okay. Towards the end of the match, Tony D'Angelo tries to use a crowbar, and Indy Hartwell is trying to take it away from him, and he kind of yanks it, swings around. When I first saw it with the referee, I thought it looked stupid. When I watched the replay, I'm like, okay, good for Daryl Sharma. He actually did a good job. When Tony D'Angelo swung around, the referee dodged out of the way. By doing that, the referee didn't see Tony D'Angelo whack Dexter Lumis with the crowbar. And he gets the win. After the win is over, Tony D'Angelo calls out Tommaso Ciampa, and he's pretty much, how he's going to finish off Tommaso Ciampa at Stand and Deliver. Ciampa comes out, and he gets one up on Tony D'Angelo, and Ciampa says, no one is going to take me out. He goes, if it's his last match, he's going to take him with him. I mean, good segment. Look, we know what's next for Tommaso Ciampa. It's just what is going to go down at Stand and Deliver. Are we going to see someone else make an appearance? There's some rumors that someone may be making an appearance. That's all I'm going to say. Elektra Lopez over Fallon Henley. Braun Breaker with an okay match over Robert Roode. Braun with a sort of awkward power slam. Robert Roode had climbed the top rope, dove, and got caught into a power slam for the win. Braun Breaker going up the rampway, celebrating. Meanwhile, Dolph Ziggler is set up behind him, and when Braun Breaker turns around, Dolph Ziggler hits him with the super kick. Braun is knocked out, and Dolph Ziggler in his face talking about Stand and Deliver. Grayson Waller over A-Kid in a very quick match. So Grayson Waller also advances to Stand and Deliver, the ladder match for Carmelo Hayes' North American Championship. The Creed brothers over the Grizzled Young Veterans, and we were talking about this in a watch party yesterday. Grizzled Young Veterans at this point, they have to debut on Raw or SmackDown, or they're done. I think them losing to the Creed brothers were their swan song in NXT, in my opinion. I would not be surprised if the Grizzled Young Veterans debut on either Raw or SmackDown next week. Or the week after, I should say. The week after WrestleMania. But last night they lose, and after the match is over, they show footage of some team in masks in the Diamond Mine locker room and destroyed the place, totally trashed it. And I talked about Gallus a couple of weeks ago. I don't know for certain if it's going to be them, but there's some rumors that it could still be Gallus, so we will wait and see. The main event last night, Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray defeating Wendy Chu and Dakota Kai to win the Dusty Classic. Now, here's where it gets a little messy. After the match is over, now we're thinking we're going to see Io Shirai, Kaylee Ray take on Toxic Attraction at Stand and Deliver for the tag titles. Instead, Toxic Attraction hits the ring, and they're trying to beat down Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray, and here comes Cora Jade. Cora Jade, sort of with the save, wailing on everybody. And then we see this later in the night. Stand and Deliver is going to be a 4-way match for the Women's Championship. The winners of the Dusty Classic, along with Cora Jade and Mandy Rose. It is going to be a 4-way. Now, for everyone out there, and by the way, I know I didn't mention one match. We saved the best for last. I got an audio and a video clip for you. The reason why Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray are part of a fatal 4-way for the NXT Women's Championship and not going for the tag titles, there is some early reports that Gigi Dolan is injured and she cannot compete at Stand and Deliver. So because they're only a little more than a week away, they went with the 4-way match for the Women's Championship. Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray will still get a tag team title shot against Toxic Attraction down the line. But they had to cover for that. That's why we got the 4-way. Now, I'm disappointed in WWE. I understand that their product is PG-13, and I understand children tune into their product. But if you really pay close attention to NXT, it does seem like it caters to an older crowd sometimes. I mean, everybody's talking about Nikita Lyons' outfit, Lash Legend being thick. You see some of the other women that are there, the way they look, the way they dress, very, very sexy. You see a lot of vulgar language, even though it's censored out. But you see, without a doubt, NXT seems more adult than even Raw or SmackDown at times. And I'm totally baffled. I mean, I know why they did it, but I'm totally baffled why they did this. Last night, we had a match between Gunther, and I love that they're calling him Gunther instead of Gunther. Remember that? Remember we talked about that earlier? Gunther. And I'm just going to show it to you. First of all, I have the footage from someone who had a fan cam. And it's good because there's no commentary. And I'll just let you hear it. For those on video, just watch your screen. It's quick, though. Actually, hold on. I got to get the right dimensions. All right, here we go. It was so freaking loud, but I have the audio with the commentary. I can't show the video again with that because then I get, striked over here. But I just want you to look at Duke Hudson's chest from this match. The chop heard around. Actually, that doesn't do it justice. That's a little bit better. Actually, this is even better than that. That was after the chops from Gunther yesterday. Duke Hudson trying to show off in front of his girlfriend, Persia Peralta. And during the match, one more time, I swear to God, I mean, I have heard loud chops by Gunther, Walter, but last night was on a different level. And sadly enough, that is edited off of YouTube. And it blows my mind. Hopefully they change their mind. The reason why it's edited out of YouTube is the audio that proceeded next. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put Duke Hudson back on the screen, and I just want you to listen to this.
Getting a beat down for
Hold on. Here we go.
Getting a beat down for his troubles now is poor Duke Hudson.
Wait, even at matching the size, one chop from Gunther, level. Look at the welts forming on the chest of Hudson. And now it could be a matter of time as Hudson's chest begins to welt. Look at the beet redness for Hudson trying his best right now. I can't get over what we're...
They edited that because of the holy shit chance. I mean, I understand that WWE is PG, but come on, man. Holy shit chance on YouTube. Yeah, even on their Twitter. If you go to their Twitter page and you see the footage of it, they edited it out. Because when I watched, and they put 3.5 minutes on Twitter also. And when I watched it, I saw a cutaway. And I didn't remember a commercial break. And I'm like, what are they cutting away from? Then when I wanted to put, the footage of the chop, I went back and I watched 2.5 minutes of it and I didn't see it. I said, oh, maybe I was too fast forwarded too much. I rewound it to the beginning. I go through the whole thing. I don't see it. I'm like, am I missing something yet? Sure enough, I go and I found the fan cam footage. My God. That's crazy, man. That was just, that's awesome. I mean, look, Jeff Hardy's dive off the windowsill deserved the holy shit chant as well. But when you can get a holy shit chant from one chop, that's brutal, man. And that's the beauty about almost going to an indie wrestling event. You're in such a small venue, in intimate surroundings, and everything sounds louder. But that yesterday, I mean, even when we were doing a watch party, we were saying, holy shit. That's how crazy it was. So I hope you enjoyed it. So next week, all we have advertised is LA Knight teaming up with MSK to take on Imperium. And the reason why that match is going down is because there was a confrontation yesterday between Gunther and LA Knight, and the challenge has been made, and at Stand and Deliver, it's going to be LA Knight versus Gunther. So we were talking about it yesterday on Patreon. Like, I got to see LA Knight take one of those chops. I mean, how he's going to sell it insane, but that's going to be something to look forward to. But so as a result, we have MSK teaming up LA Knight next week against Imperium, and we have Cameron Grimes, Roderick Strong, and A-Kid. They're going to collide in what they're calling a last chance triple threat match. The whole storyline with the ladder match at Stand and Deliver is that Carmelo Hayes has been the one to choose the matches. So A-Kid, Cameron Grimes, and Roderick Strong all lost their qualifying matches. So Carmelo Hayes is being generous and giving them a last chance match. So one of those three are going to win next week, and they will be able to go on to the ladder match at Stand and Deliver. So, all right, Darren, you call it weak, but you know what? It is developmental. And of course, it's going to be, a little bit less or a lot of bit less than AEW. So, but still, I thought it was fun yesterday. Did they come out with the NXT rating today? Anyone? Does anyone in the chat know what NXT's rating was today? I'm very curious to see if it went up. So I know someone will pull it for me. I appreciate it. So anyway, before I jet out of here, I want to give my quick thoughts on Control the Narrative. Crazy Shem says that there was no NXT rating today. I didn't see anybody sending it to me, and I didn't see in my normal sources either. Simply Unknown says 628. Can we get a confirmation of that, everyone? So let's see if that is legit. 628, not a bad number if that is a legit number. So, but a lot of you have been asking me about Control the Narrative. And I'm just waiting for confirmation. No one in the chat. Everybody's too tired tonight. Too tired to check. I get it. By the way, if you're enjoying tonight's show, if you could take a moment and hit that like button. I'm sure you've heard it on every single podcast manageable out there. It helps with algorithms and shit like that. So if you could take a moment, hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. So Fly, Scarlet and Cross are at the bottom. Not intentional, but it's at the bottom of my list. That'll be the last thing that I bring up. And that has to do with Control the Narrative too. So I didn't forget about it. I have my list. By the way, nobody checked. So we're going to just say that the rating was unknown. So, all right. Controlling Narrative. The new promotion that is predominantly featured by Adam Scherr, who you knew as Braun Strowman, EC3, and Killer Kross. Those are the three that are featured on the poster for their Awakening event in Texas, Dallas, Texas. It's going to take place on March 31st. Now, the reason why Control the Narrative is getting a lot of press is because, number one, it's getting this aura of being alt-right. That these are people that are Republican, or they're not vaccinated, or they're this, or they're that, or they're this. And I think it's a little bit unfair. I know they were bringing Austin Aries aboard and a few others. There's been rumors of some other names that, really going against it. But thank you, SoFly. Okay, we got some confirmations. The rating was 628. So thank you, Simply Unknown, for the original post. 628 was NXT's rating. But Control the Narrative is getting a lot of heat online. One, because it comes off as an alt-right promotion, but also because of their rules. I'm going to share with you their rules for a minute. These are the rules and regulations for Control Your Narrative. Number one, you are in control. Number two, you are in control. Number three, fights end when you tap out, get knocked out, can't stand, or quit. Sanctioned matches can end with a pinfall. So they're having unsanctioned matches and sanctioned matches. I'm very curious if anybody in the chat room starts thinking what I'm thinking. Let's continue. Standard professional wrestling rules apply for sanctioned matches. Chaos ensues in the Project Pit. No super kicks, no tope suicidas, no Canadian destroyers. The fight isn't with your opponent. It is with yourself. Fights will go on as long as they have to. Sanctioned matches hit their times. If you want to control your narrative, you have to fight. You know the vibe that I'm getting from this? You remember early in the pandemic, WWE trying to mix things up a little bit, and they came up with a little concept that was airing on Raw with Shane McMahon as the host, Raw Underground. Does this some ways feel like a promotion that has a Raw Underground theme to it? Because the vibe I'm getting is that this promotion is going to be a lot of brawling, fisticuffs, a lot of meat, a lot of... You see where I'm going with this? Like, it's probably going to have a lot of character-driven, but not, sports entertainers. It feels like almost like a Raw Underground feel to it. Now, I think the reason why it's getting a lot of heat online, not just because of some of the people that they were willing to bring aboard, but because of, what's so bad about tope suicidas? What's so bad about Kadir? What they're basically telling you is that we're not having high-flying bullshit, that it's going to be a lot of grit, a lot of raw, a lot of Fight Club. That's what it feels. They even used the term pit. So that is the aura that I'm getting from that promotion. And I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea because we have promotions that give a little bit of everything. We have promotions that feature primarily one specific style. This is a different style. I don't know how it'll come across, but I almost envision the demographic that's going to go to their event. And believe it when I tell you, I'm not saying this to sound like a wise ass. I think there's going to be a lot of women there. I think there's going to be a lot of older guys there. I think there's going to be a lot of guys and gals that may be more into like UFC stuff. I don't think you're going to get the same demographic that you see like at AEW shows or GCW shows. I think that's where this is going. Now, I said the other day with Velveteen Dream, if any promotion is going to dare bring Velveteen Dream back, that's probably the promotion to do it, unless it's a promotion overseas. We heard about Austin Aries. Obviously, they're looking to be almost like badasses. So anybody that has a little bit of controversy, they're probably thinking. Now, there is limitations, though. I don't think they're bringing in Joey Ryan. You know what I mean? Like anybody with sexual abuse, I don't see that happening. But as far as, look, Adam Scherr likes to hunt. You hear things about vaccination or not being. So it feels like a promotion, a heel promotion. We have heel wrestlers, heel tag teams, heel factions. This feels like a heel promotion. I'm curious. Now, they haven't announced any matches yet, but I will tell you this. This event in Texas, WrestleMania weekend, it's going to be on Thursday, March 31st. And VIP doors open at 6. General admission doors open at 7. And the show starts at 8 o'clock. Now, they have ticket prices ranging from $25 to $125 a ticket. $125 is the stage VIP, which gives you early entry. You sit on the stage. You get photo ops with a bunch of people, a shirt. It's a pretty decent package for $125. Now, I don't have the seating arrangement here. I can provide it on the next show if you want me to. But they're setting up this building to only seat about, I think, 300 people. So I don't think that they're expecting a gigantic turnout. There is going to be standing room only, but I think 400 might be a fair number that they may be setting up. I would say 300 seats and then standing room only. I think that might be fair. If they could do 400 to 500 and pack that place, then I think that would be a success. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this. Now, I don't think Control Your Narrative and Killer Cross being involved with this has anything to do with what I'm about to say, but I still find this very interesting. Fightful put out a report yesterday that came out late that I found a little bit interesting. It had to do with Killer Cross and Scarlett. The report was that when Ring of Honor was going to do Supercard of Honor and plan their reboot, they were going to bring in Killer Cross and Scarlett. Now, I want to make this perfectly clear. It never went to the stage where contracts were signed. There were discussions. Ring of Honor wanted to bring in Killer Cross and Scarlett for when they were going to reorganize the promotion. Tony Khan then went and bought Ring of Honor. And since he bought Ring of Honor, Tony Khan has had no interest in contacting or bringing in Killer Cross and Scarlett. There have been no communication whatsoever. And it's interesting because we have heard from multiple people in the last couple of weeks that Tony Khan, it's almost like a scorned boyfriend or girlfriend. Some people, I don't know if you've ever done this or if you ever had this happen to you. Some people break up in a relationship and they just decide, I'm not going to call you anymore. You're on a date, you're dating someone, you call them up, they don't answer their phone. Hi, call me back. They don't call you back. Day goes by. Hi, I'm calling, give me a call back. And they don't call back. There's some people out there that just won't call you back. That's their way of breaking up with you. We've heard various wrestlers in AEW say that Tony Khan just stops all communication. Did it with Chavo and everyone else. Tony Khan got confronted in a scrum call and was not prepared for that question. So Tony Khan's like, yeah, I think I owe Chavo a call. What else is he supposed to say? But now you're hearing this happen over and over and over and over and over again. And now you're hearing that once Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor, there was no more contact with Killer Kross. So I find that interesting because it seems like there's no interest on Tony Khan's side. Now, that could all change, obviously. I think with Killer Kross now doing a little bit of work with New Japan, that increases the possibility. But very, very interesting. And it makes you wonder when I'm not tying in control your narrative in any way, but it does seem online that people who are associated with control your narrative is getting a little bit of heat from people. Now, Killer Kross is one of the coolest people around. And it's not because he's a friend of the family, but, you know, he is very, very professional. He's someone that, you know, goes by the book and is very, very professional with his handling of business. You know, he's not, you know, one of these, you know, scumbags out there. So, you know, it's interesting that all communication stopped. But, hey, you know, maybe once Tony Khan starts putting together Ring of Honor, you know, later on this year and starts having shows once again, you know, maybe they revisit that because, you know, Killer Kross could be contacted at any time. So, but pretty cool to see, you know, that Ring of Honor is getting a new leash on life. And, you know, they have a couple of decent matches coming up for Super Card of Honor. Now, this weekend, we'll get into the full card. We have a couple of matches that should be added shortly. And they are going to have a few people from AEW go. I wonder if Tony Khan is going. You know, I didn't hear him answer that, if he was going to be there. I would think Tony Khan should be at the Super Card of Honor. He owns the place. Be cool. I tell you, that was one of the cool things going to ECW shows in 94, 95 on, was, you know, having Paul Heyman, you know, just hit the ring and a couple of shout outs to everybody that was in attendance. That was pretty awesome. So I think the fans attending Super Card of Honor would absolutely love to have Tony Khan make an appearance. So, all right. So with that said, I'm going to jet out of here. We're right at 90 minutes, which is pretty much what I expected tonight. If you're a channel member on YouTube, don't forget tomorrow night, the Q&A live stream starts at 9:05 p.m., not 10:05 p.m. We're starting an hour earlier tomorrow. So I will post a thread in the morning for any channel members that cannot make the live stream. You'll have an opportunity to submit a question or two for the show. But I hope everybody who can tune in live, you join me. I will have a Rampage and SmackDown watch party this Friday once again. Last week, you know, I would props to everybody that showed up for Rampage because it was almost midnight, and I was very surprised at how many people showed up. But tomorrow, I will post all the details for Friday's watch party. So, you know, everyone out there, if you're a channel member and a Patreon, you already have the link for the stream. For everyone else, if you would like to be part of the watch parties, they're free, and you get to see the wrestling. That's a big difference between watch parties you see on YouTube. But just DM me on Twitter, @DonTonyD, or email me, dontony@dontony.com, and I'll be more than happy to send you an invitation, and you could be part of the watch party. We had a ball Tuesday with NXT, and believe me, even a SmackDown, you'd be surprised how fun they are. So, yeah, for everyone who is in the party already, you could use your same link. I'm not changing the link. I want to make it easy for you guys. And anybody who has signed up but has not yet attended any watch parties, you know, some of you are, you know, losing your, you know, invites to others. It's only fair. You know, it's limited seats, so, but it's free, like I said. But anyway, much love, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you for the 5 people who hit the like button after I asked before. So, you know, seems like it's a lot to ask sometimes.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's alright. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.